Hi guys, good evening. This is Trixie Anne Marie O. Italio, and we are going to tackle about Bolivia. Its characteristics, nature, culture, and also its status under globalization. So to start with, let's watch this video.
Hello everyone and welcome to Mr. This is South America, and here is Bolivia. Now, let's flip through its history, shall we? The earliest inhabitants of Bolivia settled high up on the Altiplano Plateau, which became the site for the civilization of Tiwanaku. Tiwanakans were masterful architects, agriculturalists, and builders. Here we see the Gateway of the Sun. Unfortunately, they also practiced human sacrifice, where people were executed on top a structure called an akapana, and then ritually dismembered for the public to see. No one's certain why Tiwanaku collapsed, but it did, and there was thus no one to stop the Inca Empire's conquest of much of Bolivia, which began in the 1400s under the great leader Pachacuti. Bolivians at this time spoke Aymara, but the Inca imposed Quechua administrators over them. Both these languages are still widely spoken in Bolivia today, along with Spanish. That's right, the conquistadors arrived here in the 1500s and promptly assumed command after defeating the Inca. The Amerindians of Bolivia were forced to work in silver mines like Potosi and Cochabamba, stripping the lustrous metal from the bowels of mountains like this. Of course the Indians rebelled, most famously in the late 18th century, when many natives of Bolivia joined the rebellion of Peruvian Tupac Amaru, a heroic and hard-fought effort but unsuccessful. Still, Spain's grip of its colonies was weakening, faltering fatally in the early 1800s after Napoleon's conquest of Spain, which emboldened its colonies to revolt. You could say the Spanish Empire was blown apart by Bonaparte. Bolivian cities were among the first to rebel, and soon the Americas were ablaze with revolutionary fervor, following the lead of men like Simón Bolívar, from whom Bolivia derives its name, Bolivia, which became an independent nation in 1825. Now, over the centuries, Bolivia had been mined so extensively that, by this time, most mines were depleted, and thus Bolivia, whose economy had been grounded in them, suffered greatly. Enter Marshal Andrés de Santa Cruz, who, as president, pushed policies and reforms to ameliorate the country's ills, but got a bit greedy in wanting to rule Peru too, which he did for a while, but this stoked up resentment, and Bolivia became enmeshed in manifold brawls with its neighbors, ultimately losing more than half its land, including the bit that joined it to the sea, after losing a war with Chile, a country that definitely needed more coastline. Even more humiliating was Bolivia's defeat by Paraguay in the Chaco War. Social and political chaos escalated. This president, for instance, was killed by an angry crowd who stormed his palace and hanged his body from a lamppost. Bolivia's shaky, uncertain political climate did not change. Junta, then this guy, more junta, then more unstable regimes, racking their brains how to grow the economy while cutting a few tin mine jobs, while not increasing wages, while not angering labor unions, which was impossible. Bolivia's various conundrums couldn't be solved even when civilians regained government leadership in the 1980s. Protests and general societal agitation persisted. Populist Evo Morales has proved a radical and energetic leader, and the economy has been growing, as has tourism. And there's a lot to see here. What does the future hold for Bolivia?
Since most of the things that are needed to be discussed are pointed out on the video already, then let's fast forward to the last one, which is the status of Bolivia under globalization. Due to globalization, there are endless amounts of networking opportunities in Bolivia. With the aid of globalization, the relationship between US and Bolivia strengthens as the US invests money to the country of Bolivia, and in return receives reduced exports on fruits, vegetables, milk, honey, and even handcrafted goods. And last but not the least, both men and women receive benefits from the globalization of cocoa within Bolivia. As for the men, eating cocoa leaves give them endurance and strength on long journeys throughout the country. While for the women, the cocoa they receive was used for ceremonies such as the birth of children and wedding rituals.